All right, let's talk some Vita Vea. Why not? People love when I talk about Vita Vea, and why not? He's such a unicorn of being so big, but also so athletic. Very fun to talk about. So let's talk about him. And we'll start off with this play. What's going to happen here is he's going up one-on-one against a center here. And so, this is just part of the issue with playing against Vita Vea, right? Is what do you do in this situation when he lines up right on a center? You kind of feel like you almost have to put a guard on him as well because he's so big. Like putting a center in a one-on-one spot against Vea, that's just a mismatch, no matter how good your center is. But if you do have a guard also help out, well, then that also puts you in a tough situation because then you can't really double team anyone else unless you have a tight end or halfback helping double team someone else. So this is kind of what the dilemma it gives you. So for Atlanta, they're going to at least start off on this play by just trying to block Vea one-on-one with their center. Right off the bat, this doesn't go well. Vea immediately, just is able to get to the side to where at this point, he's just too big. Like he can overpower you at this point. As long as he gets that first step, which he can do very well, because again, he can move very well. He gets off to the left side of the screen quickly to where even with the guard now realizing, okay, I got to come in and help out, this is just too difficult of a situation. And also part of what helped this out was the fact that, his teammate to the left of him was lined up against the guard. So it's not like you could really have that guard go over there. And, he has also, someone to the right of him as well lined up with a guard. So just like, you have both guards immediately trying to block someone. That also is part of what allowed Vea to be in this situation. To where now, as you see, he can run over and get the pressure. Cam Gill got the sack before Vea could get there, but Vea was not too far behind. And also this just helps because Matt Ryan couldn't step up in the pocket at all to avoid the sack. So even if you're not actually getting the sack, you're still helping by creating that pressure up front. Certainly. Like something like this is another example where what's going to happen is, again, you see where he is on the field. This is going to be a one-on-one matchup with the left guard this time. That's, again, at least how this play is going to start out. And before I even show you the play, the main thing I want you to focus is going to be his footwork at the line. Watch how good of a job he does moving over quickly. Look, as you see, he does get over to the point where he is able to really put the guard in a tough situation. If you want to block Vita Vea, you have to have good hand placement. And this is just not the hand placement you want. Ideally, at this spot, if you're a guard, where you'd want your left hand to be would be all the way over to Vita Vea's right side of his body. And you see it's not even close. It's on Vita Vea's left shoulder pad. I mean, you're just not going to be able to push Vea to the left side of the screen with any kind of force really in this spot. You could potentially, with some defensive linemen, push them away just by doing this, but Vita Vea is too big, he's too strong, you're not going to be able to do this. Even with a tackle now helping you out, it's just not going to happen. Watch, did Vea even get moved in the slightest there? He just runs over and gets the sack to Matt Ryan. So that's the combination that allows him to get his wins when he does get pressure in the pass rush game. It's with that. It's with his quick footwork at the line and then just his power. He gets you a little bit off balance, and that's all he needs to just run right through. You're not going to push him aside, and he can get sacks, he can get pressures, and more than any of that, he can then force you to have to double team him, which at that point, Tampa Bay is winning because they have other guys who can get to the passer. Also, I got to talk about something like this because, this is just crazy that someone at his size can be able to do something like this where you're going to have Sue is actually going to run over. This is going to be a twist. So Sue, who is lined up, he's the one who's lined up sort of as an interior defensive lineman, but towards the right side of the screen, lined up against the left guard. He's going to basically run in between the left guard and the center, and then Vea is going to just swing all the way around and get in between that left guard and left tackle. And watch the athleticism of Vita Vea. Look at him go, and he does a pretty good job at getting there just for a defensive tackle in general. If that's just a regular defensive tackle, you're okay, bit on the slow side, but not massively. That was pretty good. And he's doing that as a defensive tackle who's, this one of the biggest guys in the NFL. That's absolutely crazy. This one's going to be another one of kind of this, really just essentially the same thing, although with one slight difference on it. So that last play I showed, that was using two defensive tackles to run this concept. Now you're doing it with an edge rusher. Shaquille Barrett is lined up to the left side of the screen of Vea, and so he's going to just run into the left tackle, trying to bring him towards the offense's right. That's what he's trying to do. Look, as you see, Barrett does a great job, and Barrett almost got the pressure himself. He did such a good job on that one, and now you see Vita Vea is able to swing over, and he does an incredible job himself of quickly getting over and being in position to run over and make a play on Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold to his credit, notices this. So Darnold isn't going to just stand there and allow for, the biggest man on the planet to tackle him. He's going to try to figure something else out. But then Darnold ends up running right into Barrett for a sack there. It was a great play by Barrett. It was a highlight reel level play by him, but it was also a great play by Vita and kind of goes to show the athleticism that he brings to the table. And really, a play like this is just exactly his value. This is Vita Vea's value to a T, I think, is something like this, where you have the left guard and left tackle who are going to start off blocking him. Now, there's a tight end who's going to start off blocking. It's Cam Gill again, the edge rusher all the way to the right, but then he's going to eventually run a route. So you really are essentially only going to have a chip on the edge rusher with 2 offensive linemen on Vea. Part of that is Devin White could be blitzing, so since he's not going to be blitzing, that's going to have the guard and tackle both block Vea, but anyways, watch what happens. So, right when this play begins, you're going to see that Vita Vea at this point is getting double teamed, which, what are you going to do at this spot? You can't just let him, be double teamed and let Cam Gill run straight to Cam Newton for a sack. You have to do something, so the tackle is going to try to do something, get off this play, get off this block, and go over to block Gill. So he does that, but that leaves Vea one-on-one, who immediately wins and gets to the quarterback for a sack. So that's just his value. That's, I think, perfectly to a T what Vita Vea does. If you double him, it leaves someone else open. If you don't double him, he gets to the quarterback. So you have to double him, and there's just so much value in that. So yeah, love me some Vita Vea. He's even got a touchdown in the NFL. He got a touchdown a couple years back. That was Bruce Arians' first year there. So, even an elite pass catching the defensive lineman on top of this. He's such a fun player to watch. Watching film of him, you notice him. I'll tell you that much. It's not hard to watch film on him because immediately you always see exactly where he is because he's like twice the size of everyone else. And when you're making NFL linemen look small, that's pretty impressive. But also just like when you watch the film itself, you notice the impact he has. I mostly focused on the passing game and all of that stuff, but obviously he has a huge impact in the running game as well, because it's the same logic. You can't just leave a center on him. You're not going to be able to run over the middle. If you do that, you're going to have to run to the outside to try to have success that way, which, that's what teams did against Tampa Bay. Run away from Vita Vea. That's typically the mindset there. So a lot of good stuff with Vea. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.